Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the Tensai Morning Show where we discuss everything about raising genius kids. My name is Chris and I'm your host. Today we'll be talking about why smart kids still struggle in school. If you're excited to be here this morning, let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments, and also take a moment right now and share this stream on your stories, on your WhatsApp status, to your friends, to your family, anyone who you think definitely needs what we're going to talk about today. So thank you. Good morning, and I hope you had an amazing night. And we're here today to talk about why smart kids still struggle in school. And this is something that a lot of parents, come to me about. They say, "Oh, my child is smart, yet they struggle." Right? So your child is smart. I don't doubt it, and you've probably known this for years. They ask questions that blow your mind at home. They understand concepts faster than their siblings. Their teachers say it in PTA conferences. They say your child is clearly intelligent, right? The issue is, and there's always a but. There's always a but, right? They always say, oh, they're not showing it in their grades. They're not reaching their potential. And they could be doing so much better. And you sit there thinking, well, if they're so smart, then why aren't they succeeding? Today, I'm going to explain exactly what is happening. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something that causes that and what you can do about it. Okay? And this is going to also change how you see this whole situation. All right? So, but first thing to understand is that intelligence and academic success are not the same thing. They are not even close, right? Your child might be genuinely brilliant and still be failing, and it's not because they're lazy or unmotivated. It's because something else is missing. It's because something else is missing. So let me start with this, okay? Intelligence is your child's ability to understand, reason, problem solve, right? It is real, you see it. But academic performance is something different. Academic performance is what shows up on report cards, is what shows up on grades, it's what shows up on test scores, is what shows up, when it comes to homework completion. And the two things, they don't always connect. Why? Because school does not just reward intelligence. School rewards consistency. It rewards the ability to show up every single day, to manage multiple tasks, to manage organize materials, to start work without being asked, to finish what you start, and to remember what you learned last week. These are not intelligence skills. They're executive function skills. When I mean by executive function is basically like things that are trainable, things that are hardcore skills that we have that make us different. And so a child can be a genius and still completely fail at executive function, right? Think about it this way. Imagine you are brilliant at maths. You can solve complex problems in your head, right? Imagine you can solve complex problems in your head. You understand concepts deeply, but you never write anything down. Like you don't do your homework, you lose your worksheets. So you have some and you lose them, right? And when you do, you kind of like forget everything. You don't do homework because you forget when it's due, you fail the class. So I mean, you know all these things, you're very smart, you're intelligent, you can do it, but somehow you fail the class. At that point, your intelligence didn't fail you. What failed you was your executive function, right? What failed you was your executive function. And this is the difference that people don't pay attention to, right? So, what is executive function? What is executive function? Executive function is the brain's management system. Is the brain's management system. Think about like someone having a CEO and a COO, like somebody who is in charge of doing the work. Executive function is the part of your brain that is the manager. It has three main parts. Three main parts. The first one is working memory. The second one is impulse control, and then the third one is task initiation. So working memory, I don't know, maybe some of you have heard me say this a couple of times. But working memory is your ability to hold information in your mind while you work with it. Have you noticed that there are sometimes maybe you and your child will be doing something and then all of a sudden they zone out. They zone out and they don't remember like why they were doing what they were doing or what they were doing even. It's because their working memory still needs developing. Because what working memory does is your ability to stay on is to hold information in your mind while you work with it, right? You need this information. You need this skill to copy from the board while the teacher is talking. The child needs you to follow multi-step instructions. You need to remember what you read on one page while you are on the next page. A child with a weak working memory will forget what they were doing mid-task. That's exactly what happens. So most of the time, it's not, oh, something is wrong somewhere, or spiritual attack. No, it's really lack of a strong working memory. What's the second one? Impulse control. I mean, you got by the name, you understand, yes? Impulse control is your ability to stop yourself from doing the thing you want to do and do the thing you should do instead. Right? It's about like you see something, you want it, but then you have to finish what you are on before you go for that. A child with weak impulse control sees an iPad somewhere and just wants it immediately. They cannot resist. They can't wait. They interrupt people. They say things without thinking. They can't sit still during instruction. Their brilliant brain is there, but they cannot manage their impulses enough to access it. That's what impulse control is, right? And then the last one is task initiation, which is the ability to start work without someone telling you to start, without motivation or interest. You just start because it needs to be started. So a child with a weak task initiation, this is something a lot of you have noticed in your own child, where like you can't get them to do anything without having to chase them around or say do A, do B, right? That's a child with a weak that's a child with a weak working memory, right? And so like everything feels stuck. These children that have this low task initiation, they are not lazy. They don't stop because starting feels hard for their brain. And here's the thing: the problem is that our academic institutions, they teach content, maths, English, science. There is nobody somewhere. There is nobody that teaches executive function. They assume that children have it, right? They assume that children have it. And for kids who naturally develop strong executive function, school works fine because they already have the key tools that they need to operate at that level where they're going to excel, right? But for children who did not develop that, for example, children who had ADHD, or children who are disorganized, children who are impulsive, children who can't get started on things that don't interest them, school becomes a nightmare. Parents think my child is smart, so they should be able to handle it. But handling that thing requires something beyond intelligence. Okay? And so what breaks my heart is that when a smart child is struggling, the universal response that they are giving is try harder. Are you guys following this? Do you understand what I'm saying? When your child is struggling, and when you know that the child is mad, the response that everybody expects or what is given is, oh, try harder. Try harder, right? Nobody talks about the fact that, oh, this child is not, nobody even knows like what the main problem is, because everybody says try harder. Teachers say try harder, parents say it, even the child's own voice starts saying it. Even the child's own voice starts saying it, right? And this is where it all falls apart. This is where it all falls apart. Because a smart child who is struggling is not lazy. This is important for you to understand. They are not avoiding work because they don't feel like it. They are struggling because they know the material, but they can't manage the system to show that they know it. That's what's happening there. That's what's happening. And so when you tell a smart kid who is struggling to try harder, what do they hear? They hear that they are not good enough. They hear that, oh, they are failing even when they are trying, and that this is different for a child who has been called smart all their life, because their whole identity is built on being smart. I tell parents this, and I say, stop. The same way you don't call your child you are so dull, that's also the same way you shouldn't tell your child you are so smart. Because let me tell you why this is important. When you build your child's identity around how smart they are, whenever anything happens that threatens that their ability to be smart or to excel, it's going to shatter and crumble their self-esteem. Why? Because they have built everything on that. So they will start thinking, oh, maybe I'm not so smart anymore. Or maybe this was a lie. Maybe I'm not even smart at all. I was never smart. Right? And so you don't want to build your child's esteem, or that's why when you do that, you are labeling, you are boxing your child into a label. And so when that label, when the attributes that creates that label gets shaky, even by a little bit, it can literally flip your whole child's self-esteem upside down. Right? And so avoid with kids who have tried so hard, they've made themselves sick, they are stressed out, they are anxious, they believe there's something wrong with them. And the answer is no more effort, the answer is structure. It's a different kind of support. It's a different kind of support. Because 70% of underperforming kids have average or above average intelligence. What does that tell you? That the problem is not lack of intelligence. Even God that created us gave us sense, gave us intelligence. We were all made smart. We were all made smart. It's structure that brings out the best or the worst from us. Right? And so I remember I worked with a child once, 10 years old. They could discuss quantum physics. I'm not even exaggerating. The boy had been studying like physics textbooks since he was in primary school. I don't understand. There are some concepts that most adults don't. His parents knew he was brilliant. But this same boy, right? Anything that whenever you give him like academic work, give him like, okay, it's time for studies, it's time for school, or it's time for homework, he wouldn't engage. It was chaos. He wouldn't do his assignments. He would lose them. He would forget what the teacher asked him to do. One assignment, he will cry, Then after crying, he will now take 3 hours to do one assignment. His parents were pulling their hair out. Somebody that was that smart, that was so intelligent, yet he was getting D's and E's in school because he was not showing what he knew. And so, of course, the parents did the thing that everybody does, which is, oh, let's get him a lesson teacher or blah, blah, blah. He will even come, he will insult the lesson teacher with knowledge because lesson teacher, you don't even know how much he knows. And so, like everybody that they brought to him for him kept complaining. This boy is smart, boy is just frustrating me. And they left. So when the parents came to me, we were like, okay, we're not going to make him practice more. We're just going to build structure around his work. So he's going to get everything that he wants. However, we're going to make time every day, same place, everything that is laid out before he started. Making sure that, oh, this period, this is what we use it for, this is what is there when we are doing that. And all of those things, basically building out a proper structure to help him exist in there. And within 3 weeks, that same child was able to start finishing his assignments in like from 3 hours to 45 minutes. His grades went up. But more importantly, he stopped hating school. School no longer became a thing of something he had to run away from. The intelligence was always there. He just needed structure to show up. He just needed structure to show up. So if you have a smart child who is struggling, I want you to listen to me. It's not that they need to try harder, it's that they need structure and support, especially around the executive function. So if you have any parent who goes through this, share this episode with a parent who says, my child is smart, but they are failing. I know you have friends like that who will always complain and say, oh, my child is smart, but somehow I don't know what's going on. Okay? So, congratulations on staying to the end, guys. If this helped you, make sure you share this stream with one of your loved ones. And I'll see you in the next one. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about something that's affecting every child in 2026. In fact, literally every child for the last 5 to 10 years, which is attention deficit. Kids today literally cannot focus the way children 5 years ago could focus. Some of it is screens, but it's not all screens. It's something deeper. It's something way deeper than that. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about that. So make sure that you come early, come on time, and drag someone with you. Make sure that you come ready to learn, and I'll be here ready to teach. Thank you guys very much. Thank you for always showing up, and I'll see you same time tomorrow.